Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. They decided to go ahead and do a forecast after all this morning, as we have a chance of some interesting weather. So I wanted to go ahead and show it's going to get cold, or it is cold today. We'll have some breezes around, won't be too windy, but tomorrow the winds will really increase out of the north. Temperatures tomorrow only around 40 today, and the low to the mid 40s. So a breezy and cold Black Friday for those who get out and shop still out in the stores. And then we're watching this approaching moisture from the southwest on Sunday, and you can see that it's showing snowflakes potentially around. We'll have to see. It could be light showers, it could be light snow and rain mix, it could be light sleet. I wouldn't be surprised just to see a little bit of snow on Sunday mixed in with the rain, but we'll have to see. Still staying cold. This low goes up to the north now. Timing is everything on these high and low because there's going to be some moisture that forms here along the Gulf, and this is the storm system that will impact us next week. Timing is everything because what we're seeing is this high here is a little further east than we want it to be because it's going to start bringing an easterly wind in the upper levels. Even though we're staying cool at the surface here on Monday, we're seeing the increase in moisture, and this high is not in an ideal location. It literally needs to be about right here so it could funnel cold air down the east side of the mountains. But there is what we call leftover cold air from this high getting a little further east and some cold air damming. That's where we're seeing the sleet and the snow at the start of the system, and this would be for Monday night and Tuesday. And that's a good little shot right there at the beginning of some snow, switching over to a sleety, rainy mix, and then eventually over to just plain rain. It's not far from being all frozen, but it's just all about orientation of the cold and how strong this high is to the north, and maybe if we can get any cold air damming. Timing's going to be everything. Also, this storm is a monster here on the GFS. If this happens to weaken any at all or even shift slightly to the south, things could be a different story. But I think, climatologically speaking, this is not the best time to get a snowstorm, but on this around December 5th or so is when we could see our first storms anyway. Now, we've kind of warmed up a little tiny bit later next week, but we're staying pretty chilly overall. And here comes some reinforcing cold air. Here's another southern low, and this was something I was watching for next weekend, around the 5th or 6th, as another low out of the Gulf of Mexico, and this one looks like snow on this model, but I mean, you could pick snow a couple days ago. So I have to see if this comes true. And then, again, reinforcing cold air, and maybe that finally erodes in the longer range, and then we'll see things shift around. So we'll have to see, because this could warm us up for the middle part of the month. All right, so that was the American model. I think it's good just to kind of get a balance here. The GFS is the American model, and then the European model here this morning. We're going to go out. It doesn't go all the way through the entire time frame, but we'll shift here later in the period, and we'll watch as the moisture from the south. This is good. At least there's consistency. There's a storm coming. But you see that the primary low is to the west of the mountains before reforming off of the east coast. This is called a Miller B, where you get the energy to transfer to the coastal and then start going up the coast. And eventually that brings in colder air and can turn us back over to a little bit of a sleety, snowy mix. So this is a different scenario, different setup. We'll have to see how things come true. Overall, though, I mean, it's interesting to even be tracking anything like that this time of year. Let's look at the upper level anomalies. I'll go back to the GFS just to kind of show you the overall kind of pattern we're looking at. Start with shifting the screen. But as we go forward, you can see that cold air today into tomorrow, into the weekend. Then it gets slightly reinforced, although here's that low that unfortunately erodes it for us, for our snow lovers. But on the backside, some cold air kind of settles in, and here comes another shot of cold air next week. And as I mentioned, so we kind of stay cool there for a bit, because the northwesterly flows, but you can see this huge warm-up in the middle part of the country. So around the middle part of the month, it even warms up. Now here's what I'm going to tell you. Models have been wrong on these warm-ups. So let's just take it with a grain of salt in the long range if this could be the case. All right, so how much moisture are we talking about? Well, the Weather Prediction Center has us in a local, and then over the next 7 days. fair amount of rain, maybe a half to 3/4 of an inch. We'll have to see if this comes true. It'd be nice to get some rain. We do need it for sure. And like I said, I don't know how much this week frozen. Even this, if this is all frozen, this would be like 6, 7 inches of snow. So we'll have to see. I don't think this is going to be necessarily snow, but I definitely think we will see some messy stuff possible on Tuesday. We'll have to see though. I mean, it could just all be really, really cold rain. Anyway, the long range is still showing a below normal trend, which we saw in the models there. So here's the 6 to 10 day. This was issued yesterday, and the 14 day. We're staying cool here, and the warmth is in the west, so that's bringing the northwest flow. All right, y'all. Have an awesome Thanksgiving.